Okay, so geometry protocol, survive, adapt, break the system, enter the construct. Okay, so first of all, first impression is that it looks pretty cool. It doesn't look like a title screen though, right? It looks like a mode select screen. So it's fine, but okay. Okay, you have something weird going on with the hover. I don't know exactly what you did, but you have something weird going on. Also, if I can make one recommendation, the play button should hover and not the card itself. It feels a little weird that the card itself hovers. I'm nitpicking, but you see this effect that you have on the back where there's like waves of lights. It would be cool to have it attached to the mouse. So on the like the title screen, people could have fun like lighting up stuff. People always love small things like that. Okay, the music volume, let's bump that up. Ambience, I'm bumping everything. Mute all audio, no. Display, vertical sync, I don't touch anything. Gameplay, otherwise, it's pretty clean, right? It looks clean. It looks well made. It looks like you thought about the UI, which is a good thing. So there are only weird things. Oh, I know what's happening. Okay, I got it. Hey, I have a good vision on UI. The scale of the panel being weird is because you keep getting the focus, right? And I got this impression because yeah, it's made for gamepad. If I navigate using the gamepad, it feels much more natural. It scales correctly because when you're hovering, you're also grabbing focus. So you're probably canceling your tween or something and then grabbing again. The scale of the panel is going from 1 to 0.9 to 1, maybe just 0 and then when it's hovered. Yeah. This is what it looks like, yeah. But when you hover from one thing to another, it feels more clear. So you know what, Kindrak? I'm nitpicking, okay? But you have a nice UI already, so I kind of want to push it even further to make it really look good. Either you make the play button react, or you make the entire card react. That's also a nice thing, honestly. But then you don't need the play button. People will understand that if they hover on it, it gets selected. It's, you know, you can even put a little text right there that says at the bottom right that says play with like a little animated arrow or something. You don't need both, okay? Because then I feel like I should be able to click on this. But anyway, we are a little bit nitpicking. System log, hex lattice. You wake up inside the grid. Okay, signal loss. Okay, interesting. I don't know what this is yet, but it's interesting. So I select. Okay, I can see the AI generated stuff in here. Okay. I'm gonna be real. You don't need that. You don't need that. You can do this in a vector editing program in like 15 minutes if you're not super familiar. You can open up Figma or whatever and redo that. Because now we can see that it's an image. We can see that this is an image compared to the rest because this is sharp and clean and this is like blurry and weird. Okay? And so then if you remake it as like vector art, you can actually make it glow a little bit. You can put some effects, like this part in here could like blink in and out slowly. Like subtle but cool. It makes your UI a little bit more alive, right? Oh, one thing. The hover sound effect, I don't think you can hear it well because it's pretty low on the stream probably. It doesn't go well with the thing. You have something that looks futuristic. The sound looks goofy. It looks goofy. The sound looks goofy. It sounds cartoony almost. So you need something that is like maybe, or like tring tring tring, you know, something a bit more. Also, I feel it doesn't fit with the rest. It doesn't fit with the rest totally. Okay, profile, initialize. Okay, so the feedback that I'm giving you with the button inside of the card, I will not say it again, right? But it's basically everywhere, right? Everywhere that you have a card and you have just one button inside, either you make the card active or you make the button active, but both, it feels weird. Okay, continue. Select sector. Should I play with the gamepad, by the way? I'm playing with the mouse, but should I play with a gamepad? Or do you not support the gamepad? I feel like you do. Use mouse. Okay. Hex lattice. Okay, let's go. Loading. Okay. How to play. Move with WSD and press space to dash through enemies and hazards. Weapons fire automatically at nearby enemies. No attack buttons needed. But stay close. Trigger your abilities with 1, 2, 3 when you want them. Leveling up. Okay. Got it. Okay. Fair enough. Do I need the mouse? I don't really... Oh my god, the enemies go fucking fast. Okay, and I can select. I can't dash through them, right? Need for abilities. I'm still trying to add support to gamepad. Okay. The upgrade screen looks cool. Looks cool. Can I make a suggestion? Make it less opaque. Make your upgrade screen less opaque so that we are not completely brought out of the game, right? You see what I mean? So maybe you just use a gradient, for example, so you make it opaque behind in here, but then it gets less opaque on the side and on the thing. That way you're still in the game and you just have like a pop-up in a way. I feel that it would look better because right now it's so opaque that we can kind of see what's behind, but also not really. The abilities you have with them with the mouse, just to add some interactions between player and the game. Okay. Choose one, select an upgrade, choose one. Okay, start upgrade, critical angle, overclock core, and weapon upgrade. Okay, I take that. Okay, in here I can see the side. Okay, fair enough. I'm losing a lot of health because I'm being stupid. So it's like a Vampire Survivors, right? Lattice overload, phase barrier, phase dash. I like the UI. I like the presentation. It's clean. It's presents well. Lattice overload, detonate a chain reaction that arcs through nearby enemy. This is epic. I'm going with that, right? Okay, cool. The sound effects were cool. The shooting sound effects is nice. The particles on the enemies when they're dying, unsatisfying. Because your particles are too small. You have like small particles coming out of your thing. They're too small. So basically we don't see them. They almost look like noise in a way. Increase all experience gain. Reduce the dash cooldown. Restore max health. I'm going with that. Okay, new enemy. I like that. New enemy. I keep hitting them because those enemies go too fast. You have a problem with your camera. Are you using the Godot? Yes, you are. You have a problem with your camera. It's because you're moving the camera. Okay, what are you doing? You have a discrepancy between the movement and the actual camera. So you might be moving your camera in the physics process instead of moving it in the process or something. So we always see some jitter on the actual enemy, on the actual movement of the player, sorry. And I guess it's because you're updating the camera at the wrong time. But I'm not sure exactly what you're doing. So fix it, but I don't know how, because I don't know the specifics of your project. But you have a problem with your camera, basically. You have a problem with your camera. Slow enemy and hostile projectile inside a large enemy. I want all of the abilities, right? I want all the abilities. Okay, pretty cool. So then I need to make them go in here, and then I knew that. Okay. I like the abilities. This is not satisfying. The death at the end, it needs to be punchy, it needs to be more, it needs to like slow down. Maybe we zoom in a little bit, it does like it needs to be more satisfying, even on death. But same for the enemies, basically, right? You need a little bit more oomph when they die, when they explode. You're always so helpful. Thank you, Gatuno. What a good eye. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It gives me a little bit of AI design in terms of UI. I don't know why, but that's what I feel right now. Okay, so you don't have to tell me. If you said that you're not using AI, so I will trust you. It's giving me that vibe though, and I think if I try to understand why it's giving me that vibe, it's because it looks too clean, and because it's very boxy. So I don't really like AI. I don't know if you know that. And usually we can spot when someone is using Claude to create UI, because it gives a very boxy feeling. Like everything... I got a concept from the AI, but it made via code. It looks way far from what AI gave me. Okay. So... you see, it's not coming from nowhere. I still get the feeling. If I get the feeling, it means that maybe some players will get the feeling, okay? So one advice I can give you, it looks very clean, okay? It looks very clean. Make it less boxy. UI design made by an AI has the tendency to make everything boxy. What I mean by that, you have a box. And inside of that box, you have another box. And inside of that box, you have boxes. And inside of that, you have boxes. And then you have boxes. Okay? Everything is inside of a box. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And it will be actually easier to read if you don't have that much boxiness. It looks like a website also, exactly. So, if I can give you an advice... Let me do something crazy. I'm going way above what I should do. Way beyond, not above. If I can give you an advice. I want the game to learn a little bit of art, so maybe I'm redoing all the UI HUD myself. Yes. Maybe. But it's fine, it's fine. You can take inspiration, but honestly, you know what? I'm gonna say something. You don't need AI to give you inspiration, okay? You don't need AI to give you inspiration. You can use Game UI database and you will have everything you need, because you will have actual games made by actual people, and it will be much better. You can even look at my games if you want. Hyperslice has some like a neon futuristic look. If you enjoy what I made, you don't have to. It's fine. But if you enjoy what I made, you can use that as inspiration. I'm going to give you just one example of how to not make it look that much boxy, okay? You'll see it's very easy. I miss the backstory in the UI. Looks like a website. But it looks like a website, and this is exactly what we want to avoid with this kind of UI. And AI has that tendency, okay? One thing though, I appreciate that you actually took the time to make it yourself. It's honestly, it's cool. I think this is what you should do. But the thing is, AI is not inspired, okay? AI is not inspired, so don't hesitate to make stuff yourself. It's gonna be better. Okay, I'm not gonna spend all of my time doing this, okay? I'm just showing you a rough idea of what you could do. I think this can be valuable. Okay? This is what I would do. Of course, you need to present it better because right now it will look like shit. But I think you can take those stats, you can actually put them over here. So you have your stats right over there, right? You would have your stats right over there. All of those stats that you have here in boxes with the colors and stuff, it's pretty cool that you have colors. I like that. It's pretty cool that you have the number actually in bigger than the name. So you can do that in here. You can do that in here, right? You put your stats in one side, and then you put that on the other side. Look at the size. Because of how you're displaying it, look at the size of that slider in here, of that progress bar. Look at how wide it is. Look at how much empty space you have. It's useless. So you separate it in two, and then you do all of the things that you have at the bottom, you put it on the right side, okay? And you separate in like 2 layers like this. It's gonna be fine. Also, I would suggest something. In here you have 2 problems. No, you have 1 problem, sorry. You're not showing what's important. This is important. The runtime, the wave reached, and the player level. This is more important. It should be bigger than this. So maybe you export that out of the box, okay? You deconstruct that out of the box, and you display it in here in bigger. Runtime, wave, player level, okay? Boom, just like text right there with the little icons and stuff, this is going to be better. The problem you have now, those are buttons that have an action that is going to move you to somewhere else, okay? So retry sector, it's restarting. Sector map is selecting the sector, and main menu is main menu. Those are very different than those. You agree? Because those are actually just tabs. So they should look different than those. Because they don't do the same thing. Okay? I won't go through the entire thing, but in my opinion, this would need redesign to make it more clear. So the stats in here for the runtime and everything. Of course, you make it pretty, you make it look nice with your little icons and everything. But you imagine like what is it that you're putting runtime. You have wave, and you have player level. Imagine, make it breathe a little bit more. Make it breathe a little bit more. Don't put boxes everywhere. Continue with the colors. It's going to be nice. If you want, I'm not completely convinced by your progress bars. I'm not completely convinced by your progress bars, but if you really want progress bars, I mean, fine. Right? Of course, you have your icons in here. Imagine that this is the icon right over there. Right? So you do it proper. You do something good. Right? Imagine how clean it's going to look with very little effort. It's going to be easier to read. Shit. It's going to be easier to read. Can I just select that? And I don't want that. Okay. And then we need one last thing. You will see it. It's going to make everything different. Of course, the right font and everything, you get it, right? You get it. You understand what I mean. And maybe you have like an underline or something. A simple underline. Imagine a simple underline for which tab is currently selected And maybe you use the color. You can use a color if you want. Why not? You want a color, boom, you use the color, it's fine. Use the color. Right? You get the idea. Maybe because I'm doing 3D, I'm biased, but going with the Tron-like style in some sense, you can also make a cutout with a 3D bar graph. Yeah, there's plenty of things that you can do, right? It would be nice to see some of the game character background. Yeah. So initially it will feel weird because it will feel more empty and maybe less interesting, but I assure you it's going to bring this UI, which is fine, but this is kind of lifeless and also as we've said earlier, as Cunning said earlier, it almost looks like a website, and you will bring that to a game. And I think you just need to remove some of the boxes and rearrange. Easier to read. It will be easier to read and more interesting. Because look at it. Look at it this way. Enemies defeated, and then you need to move to there to see total damage, damage suffered. Usually stats are displayed vertically. It's also much easier to animate, because now you can animate like enemies, blam, 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 like that. That will feel much better. Let's go back. Yeah, this is too big. You don't need that much. So I died, right? So let's start again. I still have my abilities? Is that expected? Is that expected? Or is that a bug? Gosha! What is 3 doing? Huh? Ouais. Ouais, je vais ouvrir. Je vais le faire, je vais le faire. That is cool. That's a pretty good suggestion. I was trying to something like Deep Rock Galactic for that screen, but your suggestion make it way more readable. It's a bug. It's expected to keep for them for the next level. Spend so many days on the ability effects. Okay, I see. In terms of gameplay, I think I have 2 things that are bothering me right now. One, the base enemies, those enemies, they go basically the same speed as me. So it almost feels like the chase is not fair. I would make them slightly slower than me, so I can feel like I have an edge and I can actually navigate. Because against those enemies, tell me if I'm wrong, but against the basic round enemies, the problem is getting outnumbered and not going in the right direction. It's more about positioning than actual pure speed, right? So it's not super fun if they can actually go really, really close to me because they go at the same speed. Second problem I have, the collision with them is not satisfying because it blocks me entirely. So either I can push them away so I can take damage while I'm pushing them, but either I'm pushing them, right? When we collide, I'm pushing them away, or I go through them, okay? But colliding like this and not being able to move as if they were walls is not fun. It's not what you expect. The fastest long-range range shot in the game, a precision poke. Okay. Okay. The effects are nice. Apart from that, the effects are nice. They're simple but cool. They sound great, I would say. those Dashers enemies, for example, you see those Dashers enemies, in a way, they're less difficult than the round enemies. You see what I mean? The Dashers, they don't have a long dash, and they take quite a while to dash. So they're, if I continuously move, they're never really a threat. Whereas the base round enemies, because they're moving so fast and they're constantly moving, they're a bigger threat. So I think it should kind of be the opposite. The smallest enemies should just be like a lot of them. And then you have a new enemy introduced, which is the triangle. And this one is going to like try to snipe you from a distance by like charging the dash and like going really fast on a bigger distance. I think it should be a bigger distance. Give me a sec, I open my doors. Oh my god, it's raining outside. It's very satisfying. Okay, increase weapon knockback by 15%. Create a field that pulls enemies inwards. Kindrak, I go back to what I said earlier about this selection screen that should not be completely opaque. I will give you another point of information to understand why. Right now, I can see the abilities and stuff, right? I can't see my abilities. So that's another reason why I still want to be inside of the game, okay? I don't want to be completely... I don't want this screen to completely block the rest of the game, because I need the information to make decisions. I need to see clearly how much life do I have. I need to see clearly what are my options at the bottom, etc., okay? So this is a stat upgrade. And this is a stat upgrade. I will take that. Okay. Critical hit. Bulwark pulls a passive shock. Increase. This is a weapon. I want more weapon, okay? Okay, nice. We have some damage. I like the fact that we are doing damage on screen. I really like that. This is satisfying. So I'm cheating a little bit, okay? I'm cheating a little bit because I'm restarting with all of my... But that allows me to see what you have in the game. Okay. Maybe having an enemy indicator on screen would be useful. I don't know what you think about that. Maybe being notified of... I don't know. Because the enemies move fast, I can find myself in a situation very easily where I go in one direction and enemies are spawning in that direction. And so I immediately collide with them. So maybe tell me where they're coming. Maybe not. I don't know. Balancing a game is way harder than I thought. Enemies upgrade and boss. It's very difficult. Yes. Oh, second chance. I'm getting that. Do I have more to see in terms of the gameplay or not? Is there a lot more to see in terms of gameplay or not? If not, I can give you ideas or things I think would work well. I like everything else though. I like the presentation. The effects are cool. They don't take too much space. The damage numbers are great. The XP orbs are interesting. You have a missing font in here on your weapon upgrade. I guess this is an arrow, right? This is an arrow. You should probably fix that. Nope, just a few other abilities and the boss at the end. Okay. So I have some thoughts then. I had a few friends playing the demo and they said it was too easy. Yes, I guess once you understand how the enemies work, it's a little bit easy, that's true. But it depends, what kind of game are you trying to make? Because if your goal is to make a Vampire Survivors like, then Vampire Survivors are not super difficult, right? Oh, reduce all the cooldowns, I mean, yeah, of course. I like this ability. Okay, so one thing, can I trigger the abilities with the mouse? Because pressing 1 and everything to trigger the abilities is not super pleasing. Yeah, those enemies go too fast. I really think that. The piercing thing is really satisfying. When my arrow goes through the enemies, it's really satisfying. I find that pretty cool. Oh, a new enemy. Is that the boss? If it's the boss, you need to introduce it as the boss. So it needs to be much bigger, or it needs to... Oh shit, I closed it. You need to show me that it's the boss. Nope, the boss is bigger and has an introduction. Okay, okay, good, good, good. My god, they have so much life. What the fuck? I don't dash often enough. Okay, a shooting enemy, I like that. I was expecting to see it earlier, but I mean, it doesn't matter that much. I shouldn't probably not put myself in a corner like that. No! Right now... Oh yeah, I could revive, I forgot. Oh, fuck. The idea is to have it something like Potato, but easier with the abilities to make it more fun. Okay, okay, okay. The boss is bigger, no. Right now the square enemy is just a tank. I'm trying to figure out how to balance them better and have them unique attack. The corner, you'd have... The good thing that the circle orb bounce the wall, but you have less space to run. Okay, okay. Hey, Jotson, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. We were trying the game from Kindrak. If you want to give it a try yourself and give some feedback, don't hesitate. We were doing that. So I hope you're doing good, Jotson. It's been a while. Hello, D-boy. How are you doing? So, in terms of the gameplay, I have suggestion. I think it's fine what you have at the moment. The main issue I see is that you don't have anything else apart from the enemies. So, the way I see it, you can make the map more interesting by having, for example, hazards, obstacles, or maybe force the players to navigate a bit more, right? That could be a strategy. The second thing is you could have side objectives. So maybe a shrine to activate, maybe somewhere where you go and all of a sudden it spawns a bit more enemies, but it gives you a reward, or a specific thing that you can go and destroy to get more XP and whatever. That way, players go from simply moving around aimlessly avoiding the enemies to trying to go at specific spots because they want to uncover new things and get more upgrades and whatnot. So I think by giving players simple side objectives, you make the game more interesting. Like the moments to moments are a bit more interesting, right? Also, you can play around with the idea of having more different kinds of waves. At the moment, I feel like you have enemies that are coming in forms of waves, but it always feels like it's kind of the same thing. So maybe what you do is like you ramp up the difficulty by introducing a new enemy, then you have more, then all of a sudden you have a big wave of like more enemies, and then it counts down again. It shows you a new enemy, and then you ramp up again and again. You see what I mean? So instead of having a very linear, right now it feels very linear difficulty curve, you have something that is more like a sawtooth or even little ramps. So it goes a little bit higher. You have those moments where you're like, oh my god, I'm going to die. Then it counts down a little bit, introduces something new, and then you start over. And you try to do that over and over again. And maybe those moments can be, you have like a boss, you have like something specific, whatever. But I think the idea of having the active abilities is really cool. It gives you choice in a game, in a genre where usually you're pretty passive. So I think that works. If you make the modifications I talked about on the enemies themselves, on the collision that we have with them, I think you can have something. I will also push you towards making the dash an offensive move. I don't know if it's a possibility right now. But right now, if we retry, just so people understand what we were talking about, right now the dash is only an evasive option. Maybe I want some upgrades to give me the ability to dash through enemies and deal damage, or push them, or do something like that. Like, turn the dash into something that can be interesting, not just as a way to evade, right? I really like the abilities. I think they are interesting because they give you different ways of approaching enemies. And so I think this is why you should put more effort into having more waves, you know? Because the players will have the moments in the gameplay where they will be like, oh shit, I would need a specific kind of ability to kill specific enemies. And so they will change their build and whatever. So in terms of gameplay, this is my main issue. Otherwise, it's pretty dynamic. It's pretty... it moves well. It's the projectiles and everything are satisfying. So I think you have a good foundation. Some of the visuals need to be reworked. Some of the effects need to be reworked, as we talked about earlier. And then I have one final thing on the visuals. But it's a big thing, so you don't have to do it. But I would advise maybe I would advise to go a little bit more complex on the enemies visually. And I'm saying that as someone who made a very abstract and simple looking games with a neon art style like that. I wish I made better enemies. I don't use my abilities often enough. I'm realizing this now. Phase dash. Increase the dash duration and the dash speed. Reduce old abilities. Yeah, I want the cooldown. Okay, this is a very, very epic ability, right? Because you have fast movement in your game, I feel like you should almost go towards a game that is a bit more bullet helly. Because you have those abilities giving you active decision when playing the game, I feel like having something that is even more bullet helly, like with more bullets, more enemies shooting bullets, could be interesting. To force players to use their abilities at the right time to avoid the bullets, or to maybe even turn the bullet against themselves. Like, imagine an ability that creates a circle Kind of like this circle, right? Imagine an ability that creates like a vortex that sucks in bullets and then it shoots them out again on the enemies. You can give the player more things to do if you play around with the bullets more. So that's what I would suggest. And for the visuals, this is hyper slice. I mean, it's very simple. Look at it. This is my game. Visually, it's too simple. There's nothing recognizable about it. It's too... I regret a lot, right? I regret a lot having visuals that are so simple. Initially, it was coming from a technical problem because I wanted things to be able to be sliced, right? So I kept them very simple so they could be sliced very easily. But it's not great. And I would have preferred to go with something like Nova Drift. Nova Drift is not super complex visually. Like, look at it. It's still simple shapes and everything, but the shapes are a little bit more interesting. I don't know what is your level in vector art, but I'm pretty sure if you take the time, you can do something that looks like this. You can do it, right? The shapes are not super difficult to make, but the shapes are a little bit more involved. Imagine your game for a second. Instead of having a simple circle that goes towards you, you have something that looks like a bird, like a robotic bird that goes towards you, or you have bigger things like that. Like, this can be the difference between no one notices your game to your game actually looks cool and people want to play it. You see the difference? Like, look at that. This is cool. And technically speaking, drawing that is very easy. But it makes it a bit more interesting. Look at how beautiful it gets because of the arrangement of simple shapes. The game becomes very interesting. So I think I would go closer to something like that with your game. If I were you, I would do that. You don't even have to go that far, actually. You can go... What is the game? Thank you for the follow, Leeway. Appreciate it. It's been a while, doing great. Okay, awesome, Judson. I like the background cells. You like the background cells? Yeah. The idea starts with a robot thing, but then I was having a hard time to draw things, so I scaled down to geometry shapes. I could make via code to have a game where I'd be able to have a demo and get feedback. Now I want to take the time to learn drawing and improve the visuals. Okay, awesome. I think it would benefit. I think your game would benefit from that. Like, even just that. I don't know what it's doing. It's shooting stuff, right, I guess? It's shooting stuff. Because it has things on the side, I don't know why. It looks a bit more interesting all of a sudden. So, yeah, I think you should do this. It will definitely benefit from more visuals, right? There is another game like Nova Drift. That is even simpler visually. I don't know if you guys know it. Let me try to find it. Pathogenic did so well. It's probably going to be in the more like this. There is another game. I don't remember. Yeah, okay. I don't know where it is. But there is another game that is interesting because it's relatively simple. Maybe if you type Bullet Hell, you can find it. I mean, Bullet Hell is a genre. It's not going to give me the... There's a Bullet Hell game that has very simple graphics like that. And it did well enough. It did pretty well, actually, I think. It is not Mario Bowser Bowl. What? No. Well, I don't know. Fracture Hell is actually a little bit more interesting visually. This game didn't do well at all. Ah, no, it's not the one I'm thinking about. Sorry. It's not that. There's a bullet hell game. I don't remember. But you can find. If you look online, you can find some. Yeah, interesting. Interested to see more. Sure, you gave me a lot of awesome feedback. Really appreciate you like the idea. Now I just keep polishing. Exactly. Where I wanted to from the beginning. Yeah, perfect. Honestly, props to you. Props to you for recognizing that you needed to go for something simpler first to get a demo out and get some feedback and stuff. I think it's the right approach. So props for that, because it's not easy as a developer. It's very easy to do the opposite, to always be waiting for the next steps, to be like, no, I need more polish, I need more stuff for people to check out my game. So I think you did well. And honestly, work on it more, and I'm excited to see it again.